Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Burke Briefing. Today we have joining us Keith Huff. Keith is the Director of Field Operations with the City of Winston-Salem. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Councilmember Burke. How are you today?
I am fine. How are you?
Good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today to discuss the Attucks Street Repair Project in the Northeast Ward. It has recently undergone what I would call a transformational facelift. And I just want to give the viewers a little update on how this all came about. This project was already underway. It was scheduled to be underway, and I was out driving the ward, and I noticed the blue fencing, the blue railing right there on both sides of Attuck Street adjacent to Bowen Park. And Bowen Park is heavily utilized by our citizens with the walking trail and the other amenities there. And I realized this it looked unsafe, it was unsafe, and I knew that something needed to be done. In addition to the fencing being damaged and in need of repair, I noticed that the sidewalk had problems like potholes, uneven surfaces just cracking and coming apart. Also, on the other side of the fencing, when we looked over in the stream, we could see that dumping had taken place. So I called Keith, and he came right away, and we talked about the Attuck Street Repair Project, and we talked about the safety concerns that I wanted to address. And so Keith, with his expert knowledge, was able to address all of the issues at the same time that this project was underway. So Keith, can you tell the viewers the scope of work that was done at this location and how it has made a difference as far as addressing those concerns?
Absolutely, Councilmember Burke. Yes, so basically, as you mentioned, this project had kind of started already with the resurfacing elements, and staff was aware of the fencing component. But what we wanted to do was kind of improve the aesthetic situation and the safety situation around there for the vehicular and traveling public. So that included the sidewalks, repair of the sidewalks. As you mentioned, it had cracking, disrepair there. The concrete curbs had settled, and then the road itself was in need of some attention as well. And also the fencing there. The fencing had become detached. It was not safe to use. So we wanted to address those issues to improve the aesthetic appearance as well as the safety characteristics of the area.
And you did exactly that. And I've heard from so many of the citizens who utilize that location, and they are so pleased with all of the work that was done. I know that a lot of thought went into selecting the new fencing, and even down to how tall the new fencing should be. Can you talk about making that decision and why you made the decisions that you did?
Yes, ma'am. So the fencing that was there, or it wasn't really fencing, it was a rail that had become detached. Mm-hmm. And like we talked about, there was some dumping that was occurring there. So in the vein of safety and also trying to deter some of that illicit dumping, we made the fencing taller and closer together with the pickets, so it would discourage those type of things but yield a safer environment for our folks walking on the sidewalks there.
And it did exactly that. Also, I think about small children who may have been walking up and down the sidewalk. That taller fencing makes it safer for them if they decide that they wanted to climb up and sit on the fencing. They can't do that. Before, with the other fencing, if it were standing up at one time, they could have, and that would have been so dangerous for them. So all of the work that you have done is greatly appreciated. It has really made a difference. It's noticeable, and it is a total improvement at that location. Is it anything else you want to tell us about this project?
Those were the main elements of the project. Talking a little bit about Attic Street, as we talked about before, it was in a level of disrepair. It had cracks, utility cuts that made the ride quality poor in that area. And as we talked about, with coming in from Bowen Boulevard, it's kind of a focal point. So improvement of the street, it assisted the pedestrian public with the sidewalks and the fencing, and then the curbs and the new road affected the traveling public positively, we hope. So that was the goals.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you do in the city of Winston-Salem, and thank you for what you did right there at Attuck Street. We appreciate you and your team for what you did. Thank you again for coming. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Burke Briefing.